stuck gum in a random girl's hair on a plane because she kept annoying me. She went insane when she saw what I had done. So a few weeks ago I was flying to Paris to visit some family for Christmas, but there was one major problem with my flight. In front of me was seated an entitled brat who looked no older than 20 years of age. She was one of those people on planes that kept pushing her chair back and invading my space that way, and the way she treated the plane staff was very rude too. There was one thing she kept doing that was annoying me to my limit. She already had her chair pushed back, and now she decided she would danger her Rapunzel-length hair over the top of her seat and directly onto my face. The first time she did it, I shoved her hair out of the way and back over to her seat, and she looked back at me super confused. I could tell she was a bimbo considering she flicked her hair back over a second time. Once again, I tossed her Goldilocks hair to the side. She must have thought this was a game of sorts, as she proceeded to do it a third time. Now I was seriously mad. Not only was this entitled beluga beach reclining her seat into my space and having her rolls flop out of the seat and spread to the side, but she was also flicking her extremely long hair directly into my face by tossing it. I angrily pulled her hair back over and told her to cut it out. I don't know if she was mentally disabled or what, but she laughed, and about 30 minutes later decided to flick her hair over one more time. I was getting seriously heated at her, and figured that I should report her to the flight attendant for being so rude, but instead I decided to teach her a lesson. I could tell that she took pride in her. It's the one good thing about her that seemed to be well maintained. I knew that this was wrong of me to do and perhaps a man in his 40s shouldn't take part in such petty revenge, but damn it I was sick of this girl making my trip a misery. I happened to be chewing gum at the time, and I took it out of my mouth slowly and as sneakily as possible, stuck in her hair. She didn't seem to notice, and a few minutes later I flicked the hair back over. As expected, the bimbo didn't notice, and a few minutes later rested her hair over to my side once again. I was kinda making a deal with God at this point. I thought about how I shouldn't punish her for being ignorant, but then I remembered my late father's favorite quote, "Idiots get beat even in church." And so with that I took out another piece of gum and spent 10 minutes chewing it with as much saliva as possible, before again sticking it into her hair as sneakily as possible. For the rest of the whole flight I kept at this, sticking a total of around 10 pieces of gum into various parts of her super lengthy hair. I didn't stick to just gum either, I went all out. I wiped my crummy hands over her hair while she slept, I spat in my hands and proceeded to lightly rub my hands all over her hair. Now that her hair was marinating in near a dozen pieces of gum, my saliva, as well as bits of chocolate and salty crisps. Just as a final touch on top, while she was sleeping I decided to dip the tail end of her hair in my cappuccino. I left her hair alone for the rest of the flight, and she woke up about 15 minutes until it landed. I don't know how nobody noticed the state of her hair, but I sure did, and I couldn't stop laughing. Just as we were getting off, she noticed. She proceeded to let out a scream, and then started frantically crying about how her hair was ruined. I must add here, not only was her hair ruined, it was completely and utterly destroyed. Going bald was without a doubt the best option for her. There was gum scattered everywhere, crisp remnants spread throughout, it looked oilier than the last country that America invaded, and there was solid and dried cappuccino on the ends of her hair. She had a full-on meltdown in the aisles, dropping to her knees and shrieking. The staff rushed over trying her best to help her, but she was so erratic that she pushed all of the staff off and ended up socking one hostess in the stomach. I was quite ahead of her while this was happening, and I saw her looking around in panic yelling, "Where is he?" I know she knows I did it, but I managed to zoom off the plane before she saw me.